And good evening, everybody. Hold on here. Hold on. People are saying they can't hear anything. Let's check that out here. Let me mute this. Yeah, you should be able to hear it. And good evening, everybody. That's me in the background, so I know it's coming through on YouTube. Hold on here. But I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. If anybody else can hear anything, Jonathan Miller is saying he can't hear anything. But if everybody else is able to hear something, please let me know. Thank you, McAllister. I'm glad somebody got on to the fact that it was DuckTales, the 331 E-Rock person. I never heard that. I might have to look that up. We are live right here on the unofficial CWF Mid-Atlantic AfterShow right here on the For Pillar to Post YouTube channel. In case you haven't done that, I would like everybody who's watching me on YouTube, if you could, hit that like button. That like button gets us noticed here on YouTube, believe it or not. The more likes you have, the more people the more it spreads. I guess it has something to do with the more YouTube takes notice. It has something to do with their algorithm, I guess. But if you could, smack that like button for me. I would greatly appreciate it. So yeah, right here on the For Pillar to Post YouTube channel, Mike Mars, by the way, impressed me because a little bit of side note here before we get into Battlecade episode 1. It was CWF Worldwide episode 138, Battlecade X8 Part 1. I'm talking to Mike Mars after the show, and I got to meet his lovely wife. And he goes, this is Joe White of the From Pillar to Post YouTube channel. And I was like, you were the first one to freaking say that. Mention, hey, for the From Pillar to Post brand name. So thank you so much to Mike Mars for doing that. And yes, this is the From Pillar to Post YouTube channel. How can you boo Mike Mars? I called it. I called it from the Rumble. And ever since October, you guys, I called it. Which brings us to episode 138, Battlecade X8 Part 1 kicks off with Mike Mars versus the Dirty Daddy for the RGL title. It is the end of the RGL tournament. Dirty Daddy has new hair, new ring gear for him. He's wearing all black. He's got his hair done up all nice. They were still sitting people in their seats as this match was taking place. That's why we really had no camera footage from Grant Sawyer, because Grant Sawyer was actually trying to help get people in their seats. The phone lines are not open for those who are asking. I will reveal the phone number. I will reveal the phone number after I do the review, so please stick it around. We will be taking your live phone calls tonight. Because I want to know what everybody else thought of Battlecade, everybody who wasn't there, who watched on YouTube, and then some of the people who were there that I didn't get a chance to talk to. They turned away, I believe they said on Twitter, they turned away 50-plus people for this event. I don't know if they were having to turn people away last year, because I was the one that barely got a seat last year. But I'm glad I got to sit front row this year. I will never, ever do anything but VIP for Battlecade ever again. It was phenomenal. Dirty Daddy had lots of fire during the beginning of the match, and then it quickly ends in less than 2 minutes with Mike Mars hitting a spine buster, which I got a name for the spine buster. I don't know how much people will like this, but since it's Mars, Mike Mars, he's the man from the Red Planet. How about calling that spine buster the Red Spot, or the Great Red Spot? Mars is known for their big red spot, that sandstorm that's constantly 45 was the word after the show. Okay, so I heard on Twitter, I think they said 50. Well, we'll round it up to 50. How about that? So yeah, Mike Mars hits the spine buster, which I'm going to call the Great Red Spot, for the win. I think the Great Red Spot just fits his character, and it's a good name for that, because it's a good name for that spine buster. So he hits the spine buster for the win. Your new Rising Generation League champion, Mike Mars. And I could not have been prouder of Mike Mars for capturing that title. And it made sense, guys. Ever since his spot in the Rumble, I am sick, by the way, so if you hear me cough, if you hear me clear my throat more than usual, if you hear me take a sip of whatever I have in this cup here, I think it's sweet tea, depending on who in the house makes it. But it's because I've had a sore throat since the day after Battlecade. So just somebody out there, it's Jupiter. No, it's not. It's Mars. I'm telling you. I guarantee you it is. Don't tell him. I'm looking it up right now. It's Google. Oh, it's fucking Jupiter. I'm an idiot. Okay. Well, still, he could call it the red spot. Fuck it. It's funny. I looked it up, and it was Mars on here earlier. I swear to God. I hated science as a kid, folks. So it shows you how much I paid attention to school. Let's get on with this, though. Let's get on with CWF Worldwide. He hits the spine buster for the win. Dirty Daddy throws a temper tantrum at the end of it. And I want to say John Miller. Google it. I just fucking did Google it. See, the chat room's on a lag. So that's why it's fucking Jupiter. It's anyway 22 degrees south of the equator. Oh, man. I'm an idiot. Anyway. The Dirty Daddy was pissed afterwards. And I think Jonathan Miller... John Miller has something. I want to say he put it out there on Twitter, or he may have DM'd it to me. So if I'm spilling the beans here, John, I'm sorry. But he told me that we are going to see a Dirty Daddy heel turn at the beginning of this year. And I want to say he's right. And it's a much needed heel turn for the Dirty Daddy. I know everybody's, oh, Joe, that's your answer to everything. People turn heel. Turn them heel. That's your answer for everything, Joe. Well, in this case, it is the answer here because I got to be honest. Dirty Daddy has been flouted. 2017, I hate saying this about the guy because I like his work, but it wasn't his best year so far. The Showtime thing to me fell flat. Him winning back the RGL title was good, but it wasn't needed. He should have been out of that RGL tournament out of that division about the same time Kane was. But what are you going to do? Booking standpoint, there really wasn't much. Well, it really wasn't many different directions you could have went. So I like to think that heel turn is coming. Maybe he turns heel on Snooty Fox and Chapel Hill. As John predicted, I'm going to tell you right now, if he turns on Dirty Daddy in Chapel Hill, John Miller deserves the biggest gold freaking star in the world because he called it. He called it to me about 2 months ago, or a month ago, I want to say, right after he won the RGL title back in October, so 2 months ago. So it's long overdue, and I hope it happens. I'm curious to see how you do this character as a heel. Do you do it as an old... I think you do it as an old school 1980s heel. I would love to see Dirty Daddy as a heel. I think he'd be quite impressive. And then we get the next match. And I know I didn't say it, but it was... Maybe I jinxed this next match, folks. Maybe I jinxed this next match. And I'm not proud of the fact that I jinxed it. But on my prediction show, or even I think on last week's show, I said, if they put Ethan Alexander Sharp with the fucking Ducklings, I'm going to be pissed. And that's pretty much exactly what we got. Now, there is some reasoning behind why we got this. As it was told to me after the show, it was supposed to be, little inside backstage info here, it was supposed to be Sharp versus Matty De Niro in a rematch from last year's Battlecade. But they had the Ducklings there, and it just so happens they had the Gymnasty Boys there. And I think they said it would have put like 13 matches on the card, 10 to 13 matches on the card if they would have split all those up. So they combined it. And I got to be honest with you. While the match was good, it's hard for me to criticize this promotion. It really is. It's really hard for me to criticize this promotion like I do a WWE. But when you follow it like we do, when you're fanatics of it, fan is short for fanatic for a reason. And when you're fans of it, when you're fanatics, when we do sit here week after week after week and pick this, when you heard White Mike's music, you turned and gave him a thumbs up. Yeah, I like that. But when Sharp music hit, my eyes rolled into the back of my head. I was like, fuck, they did it. They did it. So anyway, the Ducklings come out. We get a bit of an interview with them. Rob Killjoy, Lance Lude, Coach Mikey. And then the Gym Nasty Boys, White Mike Jordan, Timmy Lou Retton, hit the ring. This is a match for those who don't know. This is a match that has been, I hate to compare it to this, but I am. Much like Colt Cabana and CM Punk during the early 2000s was the match that, was peddled from indie to indie. This is that tag match that has been peddled from indie to indie, is the Ducklings versus the Gym Nasty Boys, and they've made a lot of money doing it. And they've, turned a lot of heads doing it. They've had a lot of good matches doing it. It's a good formula. It's a good feud that's been peddling all over the country, mainly the Midwest and the East Coast, but they bring it to CWF. And I think this should have been announced ahead of time. I honestly do. But you need some surprises, Since ECW taught us we must have a surprise on every big show. So we got them, and then they put in Ethan Alexander Sharp because it called back to a storyline that hasn't been touched on since the Coronado Cup of, oh, you work for me now. And I kind of feel like Sharp has gotten away from that rich boy music a little, or the rich boy gimmick. It's still there, but it's not as prominent as it used to be. He's grown a little bit more. That character has evolved so much more. And to have it just, hey, remember this? It's that's what it felt like. And the match was good. It was good seeing Matty De Niro back. We get him every Battlecade now. I honestly popped when I heard his music because I forgot about the yearly appearance of Matty De Niro, and he reminded us that he'll be back next year. I like, the Ethan Alexander Sharp continuing the Batman ring attire this year. It was Harley Quinn. Next year, well, I won't spoil it. But last year he was the Riddler. So it's I was glad to see Ethan Alexander Sharp, but I thought he deserved better on this card. I know why they booked it this way, because of time and just they didn't want so many matches. They were already running late to begin with. The show started late because they were still packing people. Jonathan Miller put, Maddie still hasn't unblocked me. I wonder why he blocked me in the first place, man. That's the real question. But it was a really good match. CL Party, of course I got to put over CL Party. She goes, hi, White Mike, hi, White Mike. White Mike looks at her and goes, hey, Snowflake, how are you? She goes, better now that you're here. Again, I say it every week, just about every week. She's not promo bot 5,000. She reacts unlike anybody I've ever seen as far as an interviewer goes. And then Sharp and Otto come out. Sharp calls White Mike Michael, and he goes, oh, it's my government name. I thought that was real good. Reminds him, hey, you work for me. We got Lance Lude diving into the crowd, and then an Acai moonsault. Golly, I cannot talk tonight. Into the crowd as well by the other Duckling there, Lance Lude. White Mike hits a code breaker, kind of his version of the code breaker. Sharp hits a huge lariat into the fistful of dollars, which they're still calling it the bus driver elbow. I don't know why. He hits that on De Niro. Mikey and Otto then get it into the ring, and I've never seen worse punches in all my life as Mikey. But then again, he's a manager, so he's not, technically he's not supposed to know how to work. We got a Uranagi into a backstabber by the Gymnasty boys there. It was really nice to see that. Sharp sends the finish came in where Sharp sends Timmy Lou into the power glove by De Niro, and De Niro pins Timmy Lou, and then Jordan and Sharp argue after the match. It says that Jordan goes, he don't give a funk, hits the can opener on Sharp, and that signifies the end. That's the only good thing about this happening, is it signified, they said it on commentary, he quit Ethan Alexander Sharp. He finally quit him. That's the end of this shit. I don't want to see it no more. I want to see Ethan Alexander Sharp go higher places than a part-timer who comes in maybe 2-3 times a year. Sorry, that's just how I see it. Then everybody dances in the end, and the Ducklings announced that they are coming back for the Coronado Cup on March 31st, which on March 31st, they're doing a double shot in that one day. I think they set a show at 2 p.m. and then their normal show at 7:30 for the Coronado Cup. They last year, they did it on a Friday and a Saturday with a fan fest happening on Saturday. Nah, he said, I don't give a funk. So they're trying it both shows in one day. I'm curious to see how they're going to do VIP with that, if they're going to offer like a package, because $50 to pay for 1 day of wrestling. I mean, I'd pay it for 2, so I guess they're maybe not. The only thing I'm going to try to figure out is what the hell am I going to do between shows, because I can't go from Gibsonville to Virginia and then back. It's a lot of back and forth. It's an hour each way for me. I know, first world problems, but maybe I'll catch a movie in between or something. That's in March. I wonder what comes out in March. I'll have to check. They got a nice AMC theater in Raleigh I could drive to. But it was a good tag match. The Ducklings and the Gymnasties are both in the Coronado Cup Tag Team Tournament. It's going to be crazy, because last year I think it was White Mike and Ethan Alexander Sharp who were in the tag tournaments, and now you got the Gymnasty boys and the Ugly Ducklings back again this year. It's going to be interesting to see what teams they bring in from all over. I think this is where you bring in those outside guys. I don't know who they bring in, but then again, by the end of Battlecade, we saw another team that is going to be my favorite to win it. And, we'll see that in part 2, I think, of Battlecade next week. But there's a team out there. I won't spoil it for anybody who's watching on YouTube, who wasn't there live and doesn't want to be spoiled. Movies closer than Raleigh. Yeah, I know there's a couple. Greensboro has a nice one. I'm sure there's one there in Burlington. But Raleigh has that nice AMC movie theater that they it used to be the Carmike, and now it's a nice AMC theater. When I go to the movies, I like to get my money's worth. So, do you think Trevor will defend that night? It was Trevor and Chip last Coronado. Yes. So Trevor, I do think. Here's the thing. Rematch it. There's your Chip versus Trevor rematch. It comes full circle. I think you rematch him that night. If you can't get Chip, I don't know who you get. But I do think they'll rematch him in March. I really do. So yeah, the next match here, again, I gotta say this again. I'm not knocking the booking. They kind of had to condense things down. If it were me doing it, I put Ethan Alexander Sharp in the damn scramble, and I throw Otto in Ethan's spot. You still could have had the same finish with Otto throwing whoever into there, and Ethan maybe comes out for afterwards to argue with them, and it could have been done a lot differently. Trevor versus Kane. No, not yet. I'm going to tell you right now, Kane still has a full year. 2019, maybe. Before he goes one-on-one with Trevor. Unless that's the main event of the Rumble this coming year. That makes sense. For Riddle? Oh, my God. I don't see Riddle coming in CWF. I don't see them getting him. A, he's too big a name for them. Yes, I just think nobody in Lime is going to know who he is. B, he's probably going to cost too damn much money to bring in. And C, he's probably booked already for that date anyway. He's a good worker, don't get me wrong, but I just don't see him in CWF. Would it be nice? Yes. Would it be a damn good match? Yes, but I just don't see that being the case. Anywhere else is fine. Book that shit in PWG. There you go. I'll say that. Book that shit in PWG. Don't bring it to the Sportatorium. It's just like when at Battlecade when a "This is awesome" chant got going. Me and Bruce were like, no, stop it, not here. That shit don't belong here in that Sportatorium, man. It just doesn't. The next match was the 8-man scramble. They were still packing in the fans. First two were Tracer X and Cam Carter. Cam continues to impress me. It kind of fell apart there in the middle of those two going on one-on-one on each other. But Cam Carter just continues to impress me. I honestly, again, I think that Sharp should have been in this match. That's all I'm gonna say. And then I'll leave that sleeping dog to lie for another day. John Schuyler was number 3. We got the dive through the rope spear on Cam Carter looked nice. Mace Lee was the 4th guy to enter. And really good power slam by Mace Lee. Mace Lee actually impressed me here. Number 5 was the Fury Michael McAllister. Cam Carter goes for a Phoenix Splash, but misses. McAllister STOs Cam and eliminates him. Number 6 was the Assassin Ray Kandrak, who immediately hits a ray gun to eliminate Mace Lee. Everybody gangs up on Ray. Ray is running all over everyone in the match. I think I said at one point that maybe Ray Kandrak would be in the match. He was one of my picks, I think. So I don't know. I believe I said that I would put Ray Kandrak in here, and I even said Mace Lee at one point. So there were 2 of my guesses made it in. So yeah, Ray, it was exciting to see. It's always nice when you see Ray Kandrak. Number 7 was Eric Andrews. Tries to give Ray a sticker. Gets a headbutt for his trouble. Everybody then later in the match tries to pin Ray Kandrak. And he kicks out. It's definitely in this match that everybody does not love Raymond. And number 8 was Snooty Fox. Snooty and then spears McAllister to eliminate him. Snooty hits a good Tracer or a tilt-a-whirl on Tracer X. Snooty then hits a spear on Tracer as Tracer tries to dive off the top. Snooty then spears Ray Kandrak, and Ray Kandrak just sits up and no-sells it. I'm not too sure how I feel about that, since Snooty Fox is they're trying to really put over Snooty Fox. Here's what they need to do with Snooty Fox. And again, I'm pointing out the obvious here. They need to, if they're going to make Snooty Fox a big deal, they need to make him a big deal other than Chapel Hill. Get it. I get it. Snooty sells tickets in Chapel Hill. He's probably the only reason why they are coming back to Chapel Hill so soon is because he draws. He's the draw. It's his hometown. He's the hometown boy. But 1-2 shows a year ain't doing nothing for his character and trying to get his character over when it doesn't follow suit into the Sportatorium. They need to focus on that. And having a guy who's back on a part-time basis like Ray Kandrak, no disrespect to Ray. Ray's one of my favorite CWF guys ever. But it does no favors to a guy who you're trying to get over when somebody sits up from a finish like that. Especially when it's a part-timer like Kandrak. Schuyler then eliminates Snooty and Ray. If you listen closely, I know Grant tries to edit it out. You hear Randy, the sound guy and ring announcer, go up and ask Grant if the Suicide Squad's coming through the back door. So he spoiled the entrance to the next match. Those of you watching on YouTube got spoiled. So, wow, a lot of hate for Snooty Fox in the chat room tonight. Man. Snooty just started too late. I agree with that. He's too old. I said that. I mean, well, it's not polite to say he's too old because look at Batista. Batista started old in life. And now he's one of the Guardians of the fucking Galaxy. So it's never too late to start, but, he's Ray Kandrak, not Cool J. Yeah, I get that, but he's part-time. We get a figure, so it comes down to, we get a figure 4 by Skyler. Andrews calling for the crowd there, and the crowd's chanting for him. So it comes down, basically now we're down to 2, Skyler and Andrews. Vote for Andrews chance. Spear again by Skyler, diving through the ropes, draping DDT on Andrews, even has a split on the rope, but Andrews still kicks out. And then the finish came where we got that asphalt spike, and Eric Andrews wins the golden ticket, which gives him it gives him the golden ticket, which gives him any match, any stipulation, any time. Cuts a promo after the match, saying to everybody who supported me, basically, he pulls a Shane Douglas and says, "You can all kiss my ass. I chose myself. I did it on my own. None of you helped me." This was brilliantly done because right as the gimmick got over, this was the day that the Choose Andrews gimmick got over. This was the day that if you were going to keep the man, you had to do it today. You had to do it at this show. It saddened me a bit too, but it made sense. Andrews is just a better heel. He's even as a babyface when he's clean shaven, he just looks like a sniveling little weasel. I'm sorry, and it fits. So the crowd is finally, they're behind this man. They're just getting behind him. After weeks and weeks of building, he finally has them. And then he just kissed my ass. It was brilliantly done. Bruce Mitchell is, laughing, saying, "I told you so, everybody. There's no campaign." And he did say that he was going to go for the heavyweight title instead of the TV title because it makes sense. If you have a golden ticket, why would you go for the middle card title when you could go for the big dog? I've always said that. You're never going to see anybody cash in money in the bank for a Intercontinental title shot. It just makes sense. I'm sorry, but if I had the golden ticket and it were real, would you go for the heavyweight title or the TV title? It makes sense. And maybe this is Andrews' way of saying, I no longer need the TV title. I'm above the TV title now. It makes sense. So, sorry guys, again, I'm sorry, Sophia, I got to disagree with you on that. I got to totally disagree with you on that. I think he's elevated himself past that crap. I think he's proven himself this year with that TV title reign. He's above that now. He's above mid-card status. I think Andrews does have potential to be a heavyweight title contender. He's come a long way since being in the Killbillies, that's for damn sure. So, we then get the next match, which is the Dawsons versus the Sandwich Squad, last team standing or last man standing. This was just an all-out brawl. Might as well have been a chairs match. The Squad do a sneak attack to open. Again, if you were listening for Randy Hendrick, we already knew this was going to happen. Good brawl. Hero sandwich early. They go for the chairs in the back corner of the building, and the commentary was great here. Cecil goes, they're going into that dark corner of the arena, and Stutzy goes, that's where Richards lives. So that was pretty good. The chair starts swinging. We get a chair sandwich. I got to give props to the commentary here. I got to have, I got to give, I'm not hating on the Killbillies at all. I'm just saying Andrews has come a long way. Considering what happens with the TV title later. I'll get to the TV title when they air that, because I have a lot to say about it. But we'll get to that. That's for another show. As Alton Brown used to say on Good Eats, that's another show. I got to give props to everybody, the crew on this one. From Grant Sawyer for editing this together, Josh Baer and Grant Sawyer for shooting it, and then the commentary of Cecil Scott and Brad Stutz. Tornado matches in that building can be very hard to call because the commentators, for those who don't know, they don't have monitors. They don't have monitors, so if something's going on the far side of the building, if they can't see it, they can't see it, and which means they can't really call it, unless they stand up, which they probably could have done. But anyway, but I like it came across as if they had monitors right there, because you got, whenever they would mention something, you would have a shot of it to go with it with the editing. It was very well done, and I know it couldn't have been easy for Grant to put that together. It couldn't have been easy for the commentators to call it. It couldn't have been easy for Grant and Josh to shoot that, considering as how you couldn't swing a fucking cat in that building that night. There were so many people in there. A good fart would have given you a concussion that night. So tornado match again, hard to call. Still a good job. We got the Black Force Slam on Zayn. Dave Dawson then duct tapes Biggs' hands together. Biggs later on breaks that tape. Huge superplex by Biggs on Zayn, shades of the Rumble when they didn't answer the 10 count. Later on, we get two edible elbows from the Mecha Mercenary. And then the match comes where everyone is down, but Zayn rolls to the floor, gets to his feet right as they hit 10. So it was Dave Dawson is down, and then the Sandwich Squad's down. Therefore, the Sandwich Squad, that team is eliminated. So the crowd was a tad confused by this at first, but they were quick to put things together. So this was one of the situations where the crowd woke up and understood what was going on. It had the potential to be a really, really confusing cluster. It really had that potential, but luckily the crowd got behind it. The crowd realized what had happened real kind of quickly to pick up on it. Kudos to them. So the Dawsons retained the tag titles. I didn't expect that, guys. I did not expect that at all. You seem to have a good seat. Yeah. I had a really good seat. I was happy with my seat this year. Let's see. Somebody just DM'd me. Do you want to tell the tale of Battle Cake? Is it too inside baseball to mention Battle Cake? I believe it is. I think it's too inside baseball to mention Battle Cake. I'll just say this: Michael McAllister, sitting there eating cake after the show. He's really into this cake, and Aaron Biggs comes by and swats it out of his hand. So now there's pieces of cake on the floor. And Bruce Mitchell comes over, not realizing there's cake on the floor. Bruce Mitchell comes and steps right in it. Therefore, they're scrambling around for trainees to come clean up this cake. Battle Cake. There was a lot of stories behind Battle Cake this year. I got offered some Battle Cake, but I refused the Battle Cake. And the reason why I refused the Battle Cake is because I'm not a crew member. I'm not on the show. I'm not a part of the promotion. So, considering your audience, how is anything too inside baseball? Well, there are people who don't listen live that listen, that listen taped. Granted, it's probably the same number of people every week, but, I don't want to go too inside for people who aren't there and for people who don't stay after or have not been invited to stay after. So, it is too inside baseball. When, there's people that don't get invited to stay. It's just how it is. Or people who leave early. I mean, I'm not telling everybody to stay after because you shouldn't. But maybe I'm overstepping my bounds by even mentioning it. So that's, But then again, we're the after show. and we're kind of supposed to mention behind-the-scenes stuff. I don't know. It's the devil and angel pop up on the shoulders in this kind of situation. But enough about Battle Cake. Phone number is up on your screen right now. Call the show, 434-710-4900. That's 434-710-4900. Feel free to give us a call there. The lines are open. I want to know what you thought about Battlecade. I want to know what you specifically thought was your favorite moment of CWF in 2017. I was trying to get a best-of show together. I was trying to, I invited people like Johnny P and Bruce and JB to come on the show, and maybe I was going to do some segments with them. Some folks had, that's really inside baseball, wrestling God. So, yeah, some folks had cake that are not staff of CWF, and I kind of took offense to that because I'm not staff, and that stuff is for staff. Sorry. It's just one of those things, there's some people that get put up on a pedestal that probably, that's all I'm going to say. But, yeah, 434-710-4900, I want to know what you thought of Part 1 of Battlecade. We're only going to talk about Part 1 because the rest of the card that's another show. So please keep it to the matches that aired tonight. And also your top moment of CWF of 2017. My match of the year, without a doubt, was Chip Day versus Trevor Lee from the Night 2 of the Chronoto Cup last year. I think we can agree that that's pretty much most of everybody's match of the year. A close second for me is Richards versus White Mike versus Chuck Taylor. Yeah, it was good. The second for me is Alex Daniels versus Trevor Lee from 80s Night. Was a damn good match, really good match. It was probably the sleeper match of the year. Didn't get a lot of talk online, but it was damn good. Rookie of the year, of course, for me is Kane Justice. Kane Justice is just continues to baffle me every time I see him. He continues to Kane versus Dom was a good one. Yeah. So I don't, but anyway, give us a call. And the Kane Dirty feud was good. It was probably that for me is feud of the year. Was Kane versus Dirty Daddy. That's probably feud of the year. I would say Trevor Lee had a feud of the year, but it's everybody versus Trevor Lee, because he's got that, as well it should be. He's the champion. He's got the target painted on his back. So feel free to give us a call tonight, 434-710-4900. If I don't get a phone call here in the next few minutes, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. But the phone lines are open right now. Also, if you want to give me a call, let me know what you're looking forward to for 2018. Of course, we got the return of the Chronoto Cup. We got New Year's Bash coming up in a couple of weeks. I don't know if I'm going to make that show or not, but that's on January the 13th. PWF Rumble, of course, we're looking forward to here. Eric versus Logan and Nova Pro is actually my PWI Pro match of the year. It's not CWF related, so I'm not going to talk about Nova that much on this show. I will say that I did watch their last event on the Powerbomb TV, and I was impressed. It was really good. Had an interesting flow, but I want to make it up to a Nova Pro show. But as I mentioned to Dylan Hales on Saturday, I live 6 hours from that area of the state. So it's 3 hours from here to Richmond, and then it's another 2, maybe 3 barring traffic. Because once you get into that area of the state, it's D.C. So it's 6 hours. And trying to convince my girlfriend to drive 6 hours one way just to watch wrestling is a hard sell. Is a really hard sell. Sorry. It just is for her, especially when she doesn't even come with me to CWF anymore. And CWF is only 45 minutes to an hour away. John, your brother can't win everything. Exactly. I love Kane Justice to death, but I'm one of those guys who think, John always gets on me because he books as a fan. I book as a booker and after show host. So it's two different philosophies there. I can't book as a fan because if I were a fan, Kane would have won the Rumble. So, but if I was booking, but I now see why they did everything the way they did. 434-710-4900, 434-710-4900. Let your voice be heard here on the after show. Let us know your top moment of 2017. Let us know what you're looking forward to in 2018. Who do you look forward to seeing CWF bring in? We got Matt Riddle's name mentioned earlier, which maybe he shows up, maybe he doesn't. I'm leaning toward the no. I'll tell you right now, the over/under on that for me sits at about 20%, and I'm on the under 20% chance that he gets brought in. I just don't. It's a good name. It would be a damn good match. It would be a match that probably would get a lot of views for CWF and put CWF on the map. But I don't see it happening. I got an update, something we talked about here. It'd be okay if Sharp won the TV title. He'd have a hell of a 2017, says John Miller. Yeah, but that's next week. We'll get into that next week. Once that TV title match airs, we'll get into that. I believe it is next week. If not the week after. So next week it's Logan versus Everett, Attitude Sterling, Justice, Nick Richards, and Converse and Anderson. So yeah, no TV title next week. That's going to wait till the week after. But I will say Brad Attitude, talking about Battlecade as a whole, and this is going to be something you're going to hear me say again next week. Maybe, because I have to see how it comes off on YouTube. Brad Attitude versus Chet Sterling stole the show. That was match at the show for me. That match was freaking incredible, man. Brad Attitude is just such a... I don't know, man. He's so awesome. That's all I could say. Anderson versus Converse, I will say a preview for that one. Interesting. Logan versus Everett. It didn't go the way I was expecting it to go. Iron Man 2 in 2018. Nah, that ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. But anyway, since nobody wants to call in tonight, a couple weeks ago people were begging for a phone number to call in, and I finally get the Skype stuff straight. Nobody wants to call in. But I will also say that next weekend, cool. Next week's show follows the day after my birthday. That's cool. So yeah, the next 2 weeks are going to be some awesome TV. This week was awesome TV. I didn't expect the last team standing match, the last man standing match, to get that chair, to get that threaded with chairs, but it did. But yeah, so that was the show for this week, folks. We are going to go ahead and wrap things up here. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in live and everybody watching on the archive. The audio version was a little late last week, so I guess I'll go ahead and try to get it thrown up there tomorrow. We are on iTunes. Just search CWF AfterShow on iTunes, or check us out on Spreaker. It's I believe it's Spreaker.com/user/from pillar to post. Or /CWF AfterShow. I can't call. Anyway, it was nice meeting everybody that I haven't met before, such as John Miller. It was nice meeting you at Battlecade. It was nice seeing everybody like JB and Johnny P at Battlecade again. Sophia, you as well. It was nice seeing you there. Wrestling God, always a pleasure seeing you there and getting to chat with you there this time as well. I don't know if I'll be there on the 13th or not, but we'll have to see how the cast situation plays out. And I will say there's another thing that's been happening. I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I don't know who this DJ is, but he is he's putting them up on this torrent site. Thank you. Thank you for the birthday wish. He's putting up every single episode of Worldwide in chronological order on this torrenting site. So And it's actually catching views. You know, every time I see it, every episode is catching more and more downloads. I mean, the one I'm looking at here, if I just click on it here, this category is U.S. Indies. It's nothing but CWF on this page. You know, you're looking at 4 or 5 downloads per person. That's 4 or 5 people who haven't probably seen it before who get to view the product. Again, I look at it this way. Once you're caught up, you should start viewing it and they need to start putting it in there since these episodes are hitting. They need to start putting it in on commentary or something. Hey, join us. Yeah. It's some dude named DJ who's uploading it. Or actually, excuse me. The guy's name is Slowpoke. Is uploaded by Slowpoke. So Slowpoke, if you're listening out there, make sure if you're going to continue to put episodes of Worldwide up, be sure to put in the description mentioning Worldwide airing every single Wednesday and put in the YouTube link and help them out a little. So, anyway, that's going to do it for me this week, folks. I'd like to thank everybody who joined in. I'm glad the stream acted right because I got to go get some sleep. And then if you're going to stay up for New Japan, I will be doing an after show for New Japan live directly after the, is it Daddy Justice, Kane's Real Dad? I don't know. I don't know. But this one is the Christmas episode. It's episode 32 from 2015. And it's Royal versus James Drake, Smith Garrett versus Mark James, and Trevor Lee versus Ethan Alexander Sharp. Why would you download them and not watch them? That's just it. I mean, granted, I have movies that I've yet to get to, but anyway. I have 5 Mars facts for a presentation on next week's show for questioning. Anyway, we're going to get out of here, folks. And I would like to thank you guys so much for watching and listening as always. Hit the like button. Please hit that like button. More importantly, hit the subscribe button and share. Please get this out there. I might start torrenting the damn after show if it'll get views. Since people are putting the damn shows up there, why not the after show? But I want to thank you guys so much for watching and listening. And we will see you next week.
Goodbye. Say goodbye, Le Chic Mama, Le Chic Goodbye.